Over 900 illegal immigrants are arrested in massive targeted raids in Florida and Colorado. President Trump suggests a Ukraine-Russia peace deal is imminent after he lands in Rome for Pope Francis' funeral. And new court documents claim that the deported MS-13 member Democrats dubbed a Maryland father isn't a father at all. I'm Tony Kinnett from the Daily Signal's Tony Kinnett Cast, syndicated nationally at 7 p.m. Eastern. It is Monday, April 28th, 2025. This is the Daily Signal's top news in 10. Over 900 illegal immigrants were arrested over the weekend in two massive targeted raids in Miami, Florida, and Colorado Springs, Colorado. In Colorado Springs, more than 100 of these illegal immigrants were detained after an overnight raid at what authorities described as an underground nightclub in a strip mall. Now, here's where it gets a little bit worse. Over a dozen active duty military members were also at the club during the raid, and federal officials said that some were working at the illicit operation. Drug Enforcement Agency, or DEA, special agents announced their presence prior to entering the nightclub. The Rocky Mountain Field Division said on X, quote, 200 people were inside, at least 114 in the United States illegally. In addition, more than a dozen active duty military were patrons or security guards, end quote. In addition to a number of firearms, both legally and illegally owned, cases of drug trafficking, prostitution, and other illicit activities, some of the drugs found at the underground club included so-called pink cocaine, known as Tusi. Those in the United States illegally were taken into custody by Immigration and Customs Enforcement immediately. A spokesman from the Drug Enforcement Agency spoke with reporters after the raid concluded. Check it out.
So good morning, John Pullen with DEA and the Rocky Mountain Division. We're here on the scene of an underground nightclub where over 300 federal law enforcement, along with our local partners from El Paso County and Colorado Springs PD, executed an enforcement operation this morning. It's a drug investigation. We seized quite a number of guns and took a number of people into custody. I think what I'd like for people to know as a result of this operation is that Colorado Springs is waking up to a safer community today. So this is an underground illegal nightclub, okay? And what was happening inside was significant drug trafficking, prostitution, crimes of violence. We seized a number of guns in there. We had active duty service members who were running security at the club and involved in some of these crimes. And in fact, we had over 100 illegal aliens inside as well, and those over 100 illegal aliens were taken into custody by ICE. So it's an ongoing investigation, but we had over a dozen active duty service members in the club tonight, either as patrons or working as armed security. So as you may suspect, when the cops showed up at the door, most of the drugs hit the floor. And we did find cocaine. It looks like some pink cocaine or the Tusi, and there was a little bit of other drugs, but we haven't had time to test everything. But there were dozens of small packages of drugs that they've recovered so far that I have personally seen.
That takes care of Colorado. On to Florida. Nearly 800 illegal immigrants, including a convicted murderer and a suspected terrorist, were arrested in a massive Miami ICE raid. In an X post on Saturday morning, ICE announced, quote, in a first-of-its-kind partnership between state and federal partners, ICE Miami and Florida law enforcement arrested nearly 800 illegal aliens this week during the first 4 days of Operation Tidal Wave, a massive multi-agency immigration enforcement crackdown. Among those rounded up were members of the vicious migrant gang MS-13 and other crews, as well as a Russian national on the run from Interpol, according to a report by Fox News and the New York Post. On Saturday, just after the president landed in Rome for Pope Francis' funeral, he posted on Truth Social, quote, just landed in Rome, a good day in talks and meetings with Russia and Ukraine. They are very close to a deal, and the two sides should now meet at very high levels to, quote, finish it off, end quote. Most of the major points are agreed to. Stop the bloodshed now. We will be wherever is necessary to help facilitate the end to this cruel and senseless war. President Trump later stated in response to a question about what he wants Vladimir Putin of Russia to do, that he wanted the Russian president to stop shooting, sit down, and sign a deal. Secretary of State Marco Rubio addressed a possible peace deal in Meet the Press on Sunday.
Well, I don't think peace deals are built on trust. I think peace deals have to be built on verification, have to be built on facts, have to be built on action, have to be built on realities. So this is not an issue of, of trust. It's an issue of building in these sorts of things, verification, security guarantees, things that have been discussed in the past. All these things are being talked about here. All of these things. Yeah. But right now, it's not the time. If we're trying to bring two sides together, the last thing you want to do is give some side, one of the two sides, an excuse to walk away from this effort. We're just trying to achieve peace. At the end of the day, let me remind everybody, what we are trying to do is end a war that has cost a lot of money to us, to our allies, cost a lot of lives, destroyed a lot of lives, forced people by the millions to leave their country, millions of Ukrainians that no longer live in the country and have not been able to come back. We just want all this to stop, and we're trying to find whether we can play a role to make that happen. I hope, everyone should hope that we're successful. Instead of rooting against President Trump, everyone should be hopeful that President Trump can bring this war to an end, because it truly, at this point, is not good for anybody. It may not work out. Peace deals are hard, but we are trying, and I think the president deserves credit for spending this much time and this much energy and these many resources to try to bring about this outcome of peace.
Host of Meet the Press, Kristen Welker, did bring up a story from the Washington Post claiming that the Trump administration has deported citizens of the United States. Secretary Rubio fired back. Check it out.
Our audience, 3 U.S. citizen children have been deported with their mothers. Now, this is according to the Washington Post. The family's lawyer says one of them is a 4-year-old with stage 4 cancer, deported without medication or ability to contact doctors. The family's lawyers are also saying their clients were denied communication with family and legal representatives before being deported, and it's raising concerns about the issue of due process, that it's being violated. So let me ask you, is everyone on U.S. soil, citizens and non-citizens, entitled to due process?
Yes, of course. But let me tell you, it looks in immigration standing, the laws are very specific. If you're in this country unlawfully, you have no right to be here and you must be removed. That's what the law says. Somehow over the last 20 years, we've completely lost this notion that somehow or completely adopted this idea that, yes, we have immigration laws, but once you come into our country illegally, it triggers all kinds of rights that can keep you here indefinitely. That's why we were being flooded at the border. And we've ended that, and that's why you see a historically low number of people not just trying to cross our border, trying to cross the border into Panama, all the way down in the Darien Gap. I mean, it's been a huge help for those countries as well. On the headline, that's a misleading headline. Okay, 3 U.S. citizens, ages 4, 7, and 2, were not deported. Their mothers, who are legally in this country, were deported. The children went with their mothers. If those children are U.S. citizens, they can come back into the United States if there's their father or someone here who wants to assume them. But ultimately, who was deported was their mothers who were here illegally. The children just went with their mothers. But it wasn't like, you guys make it sound like ICE agents kicked down the door and grabbed the 2-year-old and threw him on an airplane. That's misleading. That's just not true.
And speaking of parents, children, and illegal immigration, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who many Democrats dubbed a Maryland man, a father who was on his way to pick up his son from school when he was cruelly grabbed by the Trump administration and then sent off to a gulag. In reality, the El Salvadorian citizen was deported early before a final judicial hearing and then sent to CICOT in El Salvador, who wanted him for a series of crimes committed in El Salvador before he came to the United States over 15 years ago. That individual, that Maryland man with MS-13 symbology tattooed on his knuckles, Kilmar Abrego Garcia now appears not only in protective order documents filed by his wife, suggesting that he hit her, that he beat her, that he endangered the life of her child in a back seat as an infant, but also he now appears, according to Fox 45 in Baltimore, in a series of custody disputes. Custody filings obtained by Fox 45 News in Baltimore show that the man who appears to be the actual father of Garcia's wife's 2 youngest children filed for an emergency custody hearing in August 2018. The man, Edwin Ramos, claimed the children were in serious danger because he stated that his ex-wife was, quote, dating a gang member, end quote. Before you go, head down to the description and make sure you're subscribed to the Tony Kennett Cast. And join us live from Washington, D.C. tonight, where we take a look at the first 100 days of the second Trump administration. I'm Tony Kinnett, and this has been the Daily Signal's Top News in 10. Take care.